Welcome back to Broken Bobby's Transformation Page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, this is coming off a lockdown in the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations, California State Prisons. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment, let me know what you think, and hit that notification bell so that anytime I go live or drop a new video, you will be alerted. Sorry I didn't go live this past weekend. It was a hectic weekend, but I will be back on live again, probably Sunday night around 8 p.m. California time. So be on the lookout for that. So, first of all, what usually causes a lockdown? And now I'm talking about early 2000s when I was doing time, and some of the things that may cause a lockdown are, somebody could have been removed from the yard possibly, but more what I'm referring to is anytime there was a major incident between races. And, I was involved in several of these lockdowns in various ways, uh, but I want to focus on North Kern when I arrived on the 3 yard there, and we had been on lockdown uh, for they had been on lockdown for several months prior to me arriving, and ultimately would start modified releases with and basically what that is, they take like 5 cells from each race that was involved in the incident and release them to kind of get an idea of what the temperature is, if the animosity is still there, if it's going to crack again. And the reason they do that is it's a lot easier to stop a 10 on 10 than it is, hundreds of guys out there all at once. So, I've been in lockdowns on lower levels. Now, North Kern was level 3, and this is cell living. So when they say lockdown, that truly is a lockdown. You're basically stuck in the cell, and you don't get much time out of the cell. Maybe for a shower, if you go to medical or something like that, then you get out. But other than that, like, you're stuck in there. Now, I was on lockdowns on lower level yards, which are dorm living, and those lockdowns are kind of a joke. And I've said this before. When you're in a dorm setting, basically it's a bunch of bunk beds, and what they do is they put you on bunk status. The administration, basically the COs, will put everybody on bunk status, and this is no type of deterrent whatsoever when emotions are running high and you want to get your runbacks, basically. So a lot of times on those lower levels, they have to end up separating the groups, and that's how they eventually quell the situation. But it may crack off several times before they get everybody out that is down to ride, basically, I guess you would say. Now on like I said, on the level 3, and these times they would have year-long lockdowns. If you're lucky, 6 months, they would try to go to modified and see what's going to happen. And if everybody plays well, then they let everybody out. But like I said, they start with like 5 cells from each. And if I'm off a little bit on this, you have to excuse me. Definitely drop a comment and let me know. But the way I remember it was I don't know if it was the first 5 cells from each group or if it was just 5 random cells, but prior to the modified release, there would be kites flying around and they would at times have like the Mac reps out, not necessarily together, but from the different groups, but the Mac rep would come around and like the idea was they were trying to gauge the temperature of, if they could proceed to that next step. And, a lot of times, like with this particular one, the Mac reps come around and they weren't trying to gauge anything, to be honest with you. They were just letting us know that if one of our doors was the one to crack for the modified, it was on site. This was not a dead issue, and if you got out, get off, basically. And now I can't say what the black inmates were being told. If I don't know if our people were telling their people it was a dead issue, because sometimes that stuff will happen as well, where basically you try to give them a false sense of, oh, everything's good now, don't worry about it, so you can catch them off guard, type of thing. But I know they were coming around, there were kites flying around, and basically it was being put out there that if you were one of the ones on that modified release, that you were like, don't even wait to get to the yard, just get off as soon as you can, wait for our cells to pop and then everybody get off. So to be honest with you, in these situations, this is nerve-wracking as hell, you know? I mean, the thing is, I was putting in some work and at the same time trying to keep myself out of trouble. Like it was all mixed up, but it's prison. And in prison, you never know what's going to happen from one day to the next. And if it's going to go down, you want to try to get the jump. So I knew, and my cellie knew, that if our door was one of the doors that popped, that it was on. And basically, the nearest black inmate we could find, we were going to get off on. And maybe, there's so much time to think. Your mind's racing, and you're thinking, you know, are they going to get off on us? Do they have weapons? Uh, we had weapons in our cell, and to be honest with you, I really didn't want to be too much involved with that. I'm one of those people. Emotions play a big role in what I do. If I have a reason to be mad at you, it's easy for me to. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but it's easier for me to want to commit violence against you. Um, in a lot of the riots that I was involved in, I had mixed emotions with the situations until it kicked off. And then, once somebody's trying to hurt me, then I'm going to try to hurt you. But, you know, I mean, I wasn't there for the original riot. Like, really, it was my beef because my people were involved, but it wasn't my beef. Like, I wasn't there when it originally kicked off. So I didn't have these harsh feelings towards this other group like some of these people did. Now, something you have to keep in mind when these riots kick off, especially on a 3 or a 4 yard. Like all I ever seen was a 3, so that's all I can speak on. But the big riot and reception that I was on when I was cell living, like you hear a lot of things. You hear screams. You see people bleeding. Uh, you know, Noses pushed to the side and stuff, people getting stomped out. And these sort of things generate a lot of emotion. So while you're on lockdown, all you're thinking about is how you're going to get your get back because of what they did to your homie or maybe what they did to you, even. So you have nothing but time to think and scheme and plot and plan and I'm going to do this and, you know, type of stuff. So finally, the day comes. Modified release is going to happen, and everybody's up and at looking out the little pane of glass that they have in the cells, and we're anxiously waiting, and they start popping some doors. And honestly, I can say there's no shame in my game. I was happy that my door didn't pop. um, the thing is, had it popped, then I would have did what I needed to do, but my door didn't pop, and honestly, I was okay with that. I don't think it makes me any less of a person. Like, I've never portrayed myself to be some sort of gangster killer guy. I was a guy that was in prison, and like I said, had the door popped, we would have did what we needed to. But like I said, I was glad that mine didn't, and it became a 10 on 10 melee in the day room. And there were some hitters from our side, but there were some hitters from their side as well. And like, it was kind of a mixed bag of who got released out there, and it got kind of ugly, like ugly for some of them as well as ugly for some of us. And honestly, I could say, oh, they won or we won. In these situations, nobody wins. At the end of the day, if, say, we go out there and we smash those guys, like, are they going to bring us ice cream sundaes or something for winning? They're not. At the end of the day, you're going to end up pepper sprayed and, back on lockdown. Probably some of those guys ended up getting kicked to ADSEG, and some of them may have even got shoe terms out of the deal. But, you know, like I said, it cracked off as soon as the doors opened, and it was an ugly situation for everybody, to be quite honest. But, at the end of the day, they got the situation quelled, and I didn't see another modified release from there on. Not too long after that, me and my celly would jump on that chomo, and we would be moved to ADSEG, and that's how my story ended. I don't know how many more times they tried modified and how many more times it kicked off, but from what I understand, when they run that modified and it don't work, it's at least another 6 months. And like I said, this is early 2000s, so I don't know how they're doing it now. I hear it is just off the hook crazy in there right now. Like, they're having people are getting unalived multiple times per week at this point. And the thing is, CDCR isn't even necessarily reporting all the people that are getting unalived. Like, I'm hearing a lot of it from, like, the prison guard Hector Bravo. If you haven't checked out his channel, you should definitely check it out. He's got some good content, some good insight there. So uh, that is the story for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The message behind it all is, if we don't put ourselves in situations like this, then we don't need to worry about being in these sort of situations. 75% of the Department of Corrections is drug offenses. And, if you're thinking about getting into sobriety, it's a great time to get started. Find a meeting, do something to make that change in your life, so that you don't end up in these situations standing there looking at your door saying, is it going to pop? Is it going to pop? Do I need to go try to stab this guy that I don't even know and I don't harbor any ill feelings for? But that's the program. You know, I mean, that's the thing. I heard somebody else say, if you're not 100% into that gang culture, that criminal lifestyle, then stay out of prison. Don't do it. Uh, like I said, family, fitness, and freedom are the things that help me to turn my life around, and they can help you as well. It's just a matter of making good decisions. You know, Occasionally we make bad decisions, we do impulsive things that, we probably shouldn't, but play the tape all the way through. Think about what you're doing And before you do something rash, take a moment, take a breath, think about what are the potential consequences of what I'm about to do. And if prison or jail or even becoming unalived is one of the potential consequences, then come up with a new plan. That's the best advice that I can offer. Hope everybody's having a great week, and don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing.